What up, YouTube? It's your man MD Jonesy 529 coming at you with another video here. Before we get to the video, though, I just want to say W Bandai. Apparently, they fixed DP battles, and they also got rid of the cooler spam or bobbity spam with the stun key blast and the ground slash. So they got rid of that. So W Bandai. Um, Yeah, so the video here today is going to be on perception, okay? And is it too strong? First, we're going to go into like what is perception, all right? Basically, perception you use it to like counter melee attacks and super melee attacks. So you hold perception, and if you hit perception at the right time, you get a sonic sway. So, but basically, you punch, or you get punched, you punish them. It doesn't really cost a lot of resources. There's a little bit of key. So that's perception. So basically you can use perception, like if I use a heavy attack like that, if you hold perception it'll cost you a skill point. Alright. Also if I revenge counter, it costs me one if to use perception on it, it'll only cost me one skill point if they use it on me. Also, you can counter like some supers. Like I'm pretty sure all the rush supers you could probably deflect with perception, but it'll cost 2 points. Unless it's an ultimate, you can't deflect ultimates. And then certain blasts you can deflect with perception. Like most death beams you can't, but Frieza's you can. Because I guess, or first form Frieza you can. I guess they kind of screwed Frieza here with the perception, but most death beams you can't. Yeah, it depends on the attack, but some supers can be deflected for 2 skill points if you use perception. Also, like while you're blocking, you can actually percept in the middle of a combo. So like if they do any kind of rush chain, you'll counter it and it'll cost you a skill point. Yeah, you can also like during combos you can use it. So say I'm comboing this guy, I can hold perception. And if he's mashing square up to try to super counter, he's gonna get my perception to hit him. Alright, so we're gonna talk about how you counter perception. Okay, so the first part of perception would be in like neutral, okay? So like getting in, like if they're doing this constantly, it's kind of hard to do anything, all right? And the first like if you want to counter this, say they're only doing this, the best way to counter that is don't engage. Like perception doesn't work if you don't punch. If you don't punch, it can't hurt you. Like literally cannot hurt you. So if they won't lay off perception, you can just heavy key blast over and over and over and over until they decide to stop holding that thing. Or regular key blast too. That's one way to counter perception. Like don't engage, charge key in their face, because like it costs them a little bit of key to do this. So if you charge key in their face while they're holding perception, like that's a great counter. All right, and now you got more key to key blast them and hit them with these. And it's their own fault for laying on perception. Like that's one counter is don't engage, charge key, and hit them with key blasts and heavy key blast. Okay, so what if oh, another one is like grab. That's another way to counter it. The problem with grab though is like while they're percepting, they can actually like tech your grab. Especially on standard. I'm on classic, but on standard, you can literally hold perception with one button and tap the block button over and over and over again. And it'll tech any grab. It'll be untechable. So grab is not a great counter. Only when you catch them off guard. But yeah, but you say you want to like combo this guy. Like you don't want to sit back and charge key and throw only key blasts. Say you're like, oh, I want to combo him. Okay, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna key blast into a combo. Well, that doesn't work. This is not a counter right here to perception. If they hold perception through these ki blasts, like, they will percept you every time. This is not a counter. So you can try this in a match, like have your buddy hold perception. Hold perception. It won't work. These ki blasts do nothing. They can hold perception through this, alright? Alright, well, what about heavy ki blasts? Well, that might work, but it's a little tricky. Like, you see, like, I have different movement speeds here. And basically, based on distance, you're faster, farther away. So say they're holding perception, you can hit them with a charged ki blast. It'll send them flying a little bit, and they won't have time to hold perception. So that actually might work. So charged ki blast into melee might work, but the distances are weird. And also, I'm pretty sure, like, say instead of using perception, they block. I believe, like, if you send them flying, they can block, and then they go into perception after the block. So charge ki blasts probably aren't a counter either. Like, if they're not holding it like really heavy, like, sure, regular ki blasts and charge ki blasts are a counter because they're getting hit, they're gonna stop holding perception. But if they're really holding perception, which is basically what this video is mostly about, if they're really holding perception every single second that they can, then yeah, regular rush ki blasts do not work as a counter to perception, at least going into a melee attack. They will percept it. And charge ones are inconsistent at best. It's not very consistent to get a charge ki blast into melee against perception. Another way is sidestep. Okay? The problem with this though is, like, say you sidestep and punch, a lot of times perception will work from the side because this game's buggy, alright? And like, you could be almost behind them and it'll still work. Like, they'll percept and they might hit the air, they might hit you. But it'll percept. It's kind of stupid. So sidestepping, it's definitely a counter. The way I usually do it is I step forward and I step behind and I start doing rush attacks. But they still have time to turn around. They still have time to turn around and percept. So you can mix it up. So, like, say you're comboing them. Well, okay, we're gonna get to in-combo counters in a second. But yeah, sidestep into a grab to mix it up, or sidestep into melee. So sidestepping is a counter, but they can really still spam this pretty hard, man. It sucks. Also, another counter to perception would be a perfect smash. If you hold the smash button like that, where you teleport, like, you gotta let go at the right time. Like, it's unblockable, and I'm pretty sure they don't have time to turn around and percept. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a good counter to that. I could be wrong. I don't use it personally because it's kind of inconvenient to be trying to do this all the time. You can tell I'm not very well practiced. I'm surprised I got the other one in like a second try or something. Okay, also, like, another way you could counter it is, like, say you got some cracked out movement, man. Like, maybe you can trick them a little bit, like catch them holding it a little too long in one direction. Like I said, it's spammable. Like, they'll like change directions like a million times holding this percept button. So, like, it's still gonna be tricky. But if you got some crazy movement, like, maybe that could work. Yeah. So that's like countering perception and neutral. And, like, in a combo, say you actually somehow open them up, so you're in a combo. Like, in a combo, they can hold perception and hit any of your rush chains. Okay? So you can't use any of your rush chains while you're in a combo if your opponent's holding perception. And at the end of the combo, say you only use your rush chain. I mean, your rush attacks. Okay, so you knock them away. Okay. Now this is where they would be holding perception right here. And, yeah, basically the same way as, like, when you're combating in neutral for the most part. So you can only, if they're holding perception in your combos, you can only really use your rush chains. I mean your rush attacks, not your rush chains. You can't use your rush chains. So you knock them away here, and then this is the ball game right here. Okay. So once you get him to that point, there's a few things you can do. You can go back to not engaging if you really wanted to. You know, charge some ki blasts. Like I said, like if they're really holding perception, you can go back to not engaging, charging ki. You know, that's one thing you can do once you complete your rush things. Also, what you could do is, you know, the grab. So grab them. Again, they can tech the grab during perception, which sucks. But you know, it's an option. And again, like I said before, mix it up. Sidestep. You know, you can sidestep. And again, you can sidestep into a grab to mix it up. Yeah, so keep them guessing, because like it's pretty difficult to counter perception, if I'm being honest, if they're really, really spamming it. Let's see what else here. And if you get lucky, like I said before, like certain distances, you might get lucky with a charge ki blast into a combo, you know. Oh, I'm reading the wrong one. I got notes here. And you could also use the default step-ins. I'm pretty sure they work most of the time. I could be tripping. Like, but say they're holding perception, I think you can just do your default step-ins, like your step-in attacks. He's blocking, so he's gonna block it. But the problem with that is, though, that only really works if they're holding perception only when you knock them away. Like, they only start holding perception there, and then they stop once you combo them again. So, right when he's blocking, that's when he percepts, which I think is a bug. I think you should be able to, if you're hitting someone, they shouldn't be able to block and percept during your regular rush attacks. Like, that should be fixed. But this is actually a safe method. This is a safe method of combating that with Gogeta 4. Gogeta 4, his step-ins are safe. You can't counter in his step-ins. He is so OP. So you have to super counter him if he opens you up. Like, Gogeta 4 is actually pretty broken when it comes to melee combat from the front. If he opens you up, you have to super counter. Another way. Oh, I guess you could do this too. But they're gonna turn around and percept, dude. They're gonna turn around and percept. It's not a good way to do that. So, another way to counter perception. This will even work in neutral. Okay, so I'm kind of backpedaling in neutral, but so you're square, you can use high speed movement. If you hold, for me it's circle, but for you guys it's probably block. But while you're punching, hold use the high speed movement. Like in neutral, it only really work far away, so you have to be careful because your punches have magnet, connectivity. Like there's like a pull. So if you get farther away, they're gonna hold perception, or they're still holding perception from a mile away. Like punch and circle forward on classic. Whatever your high speed is, like high speed forward, and you'll go behind them. All right, just make sure you don't contact with their perception. All right. The problem with that though is they can teleport your teleport. Okay, and yeah, and you can also do this during the combo. So say you do open them up somehow, the perception spammer, you open them up. You can do the high speed movement in your combo. So that's another way to counter perception. Not a very good one because they can teleport infinitely with you, basically. Not infinitely, but a lot. Yeah, I already covered side steps in the melee, in the grab. And you could ki blast them too. But you can't combo into this if they're really, really holding it. Like if they're a true perception spammer. Alright, those are that's basically how you counter it, and you can mix all that up together, and you'll probably counter perception most of the time. I shouldn't say most. It's just frustrating, man. So, but yeah, those are the ways to counter perception. There might be a few other ways I missed, but those are the main ones. Sidestepping, grabs, ki blast to punish them, because it's still hard to combo into a melee with them. So yeah, on to, is perception too strong? I think it is. Basically, like this should be a counter. This should be a counter to perception. I should be able to combo into, melee off this if I catch you holding perception. Like, it's really strong that you can just hold it, and these ki blasts mean nothing. Okay, so you're like safe from your the melee attacks. I think that's too strong. Like, sure, I guess you could just not play the game and just ki blast from afar and never try to melee into it. But I think it should combo into melee. The ki blast to counter the perception. Like, you should be punished for holding this. And another reason I think it's too strong, like, you can spam it really quick. There's like almost no cooldown. Like, I think there's like a little bit of a cooldown. There's a little bit of punishment. You're stuck a little tiny bit, but it's not enough. Like you turn around so quick. Like me stepping in like this, he's already turned around. Like he's already turned around. It's too spammable. Um, and it's also buggy. Perception's also buggy. That's another thing making it too strong and quite frankly frustrating. Like, if you hit me from the side, like behind the side or like almost behind, like even sometimes behind, especially if you're locked off, it'll work. Okay, you'll get like I think every time you'll get like a perfect a perfect super not super counter, not super perception, but the sonic sway. Like, if you're locked off, a lot of times if you hold perception and your opponent does anything like a super rush attack or a just regular rush attacks, like you'll get a super or a sonic sway. So it's just buggy. Like, fix the bugs. Like, it shouldn't work from the side and behind. It should only work from the front. Like, if if I'm over here and I punch, it should not activate. So that's another reason it's too strong and it needs fixed and patched. Um, and another way I think it's too strong is, like, it costs like no ki. Like, it should cost more ki, you know? Like, I've heard people say, like, when you activate it, it should cost like a chunk of ki and then, cost ki as you hold it. So every time you spam it, you lose like a big chunk. If that makes sense. I don't think a whole ki bar just for doing this, but like it would be, I think that would go a long ways if you lost like half a ki bar for just activating it, and then when you held it, it took it slowly. So like that way people wouldn't spam it like this, because like they will spam it in like 5 directions. If they lose like 2 bars, 3 bars of ki doing this, then bam, that's actually a great punishment. But as it stands now, it basically costs nothing, and it only costs like 1 skill point for like heavy attacks if they hit you. So like it's really, and you get skill points way too quickly. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you get skill points so quickly, and like look, I'm holding 6 skill points. That's 6 like heavy perceptions, and I'm gonna get more of them as the matches goes on. So like that's 6 times I can counter a heavy attack. And like I said, I'm gonna build more and more and more. So it's basically unlimited if you don't be spamming skills to super perception. So yeah, my suggestions to fix it would be, like this should cost more ki. And I really like an idea I heard where, like, when you first activate it, it takes a chunk, and then when you hold it, it takes more. Like, I like that, because that way when they spam it in like 7 different directions, they'll actually lose like ki bars, like 2-3 ki bars, spamming it in 100 different directions. Like, you should be rewarded for hitting this at the right time, the right moment. You shouldn't be rewarded for spamming it, when it's super cheap, like low risk, high reward, like, because like this is a good combo starter when if you get a Percept off, especially gut punch characters. Like, you can take their back, a lot of times. Like, they hit you and you gut punch them and go around the back, and you got a combo. Um, so yeah, also like another way they could probably fix it too is if they make, when you super percept a heavy, if it costed 2 skill points instead of 1, like, I feel like people would spam it less, because like a lot of people rely on skills in this game. So they would be like, oh, I kind of want to use instant transmission or sparking, I probably shouldn't like percept every single attack that's ever come towards me or even threatened me slightly. So that would be a great counter. I mean, to make it less spammable. Um, like also like they could like fix the animations. Like they could punish you for holding this by making you stuck in an animation. Like have you be helpless a little bit from like any other direction. So like that way you physically couldn't turn around in like 1 millisecond to percept the attack behind you. So like they could that's another way. So like basically the animation could get you stuck. All right, that could be another way to fix it. Like that way, like if they do this and they sidestep, you're screwed. Like because you have to get out of the animation, and by the time you do that, you'll be getting hit. Like that'd be another way is like actually literally physically make it less spammable. Change the animations and whatnot. To get you stuck longer. And like I said before, like Key Blast, you should be able to combo into. That should be a hard counter to Perception. Like, oh, you're holding Perception? Boom, boom, boom. It'll incentivize them to use block. Um, so yeah, that's basically all my suggestions to fix Perception. This is basically, I gave you a rundown of how to counter it and, me ranting about it being too strong. Do you guys think Perception's too strong? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, I'm gonna be streaming a lot this game, so like basically every day. Probably not Sundays, but like basically every day I'll probably be playing Sparking Zero. I think my next video might be like a combo video or something, cause like I don't know, I've been practicing my combos. I've been finding some new tech. So I might do a combo tutorial a little bit, like not super duper mega in depth, but like something. But yeah, if you like this video, obviously like it. Let me know your thoughts. Is Perception too strong? If so, like how would you fix it? Um, and if you wanted to see a any kind of video from me, let me know. I might try to make it. Like I think I'm gonna do a combo video next, like I said. But yeah, that's the video. Take it easy.